Hello, I am Bentham and welcome back to Factorio Railworld. We have once again returned to the railhead for what is likely to be the final leg of our journey around the lake. So we'll do a quick bit of scouting and work out where to put our next corner, and from there we'll be heading more or less south and making rapid progress towards the main base. So last time we were here, progress ended a little bit abruptly when we just ran out of rails, but this time around we've got I think another cargo wagon full plus something like 10 stacks on our person, which should be more than enough to get us all the way round to the to Iron Outpost 2, possibly a little bit beyond, depending on how we arrange the rails in the end. So last time we were in this particular area, well, actually I should say the first time we were in this particular area, when we were on our original journey, this was the point where I had to stop and make a decision of whether I should try and turn back, forge ahead, or stop and try building a base, seeing if I could get some ammo being made so that I could actually do some fighting again, because I'd basically run out of everything. I think I'd run out of ammo. I was down to like single figures in terms of destroyer drone deployments, and it was all pretty terrible really. So for a while I was wandering around looking for deposits to try and build something on, but in the end I realised it wasn't going to work out and I just started pegging it. So I was running through this particular area here, and I carried on all the way to Iron Outpost 2 and managed to survive just by outrunning all the biters, thanks to my power suit having a couple of exoskeletons in it. So we're now running through this same area, and these are all bases that have seen me before. They're all bases that have sent biters after me as I've been running through. They've probably been quite confused at some random enemy travelling through at great speed, being chased by many hundreds of biters. But yes, we are now coming back and basically taking our revenge on all these biters that were desperately trying to kill me before I made my way home. And the good thing about this is that these are all old bases. They're all from before behemoths came along, which means that they'll all not have any unless I give them time to spawn them. Sometimes they may have one or two handy, just because they've managed to spawn some extra ones, or for whatever reason, random reasons like that. But if we run in and we're too slow, then the behemoths will have time to spawn, because we'll be killing we'll be freeing up slots for them by killing the other biters. So it's important in this particular leg, more than any other, to be very quick with our attacks. We need to run in and just demolish them before they have a chance to spawn anything. That'll make things a lot easier to deal with. We'll probably still get some behemoths, just because as soon as we arrive in a biter base, we start killing the biters and new ones start spawning. But keeping the behemoth numbers down as much as possible is extremely useful, because like one behemoth biter can occupy the entire destroyer drone force for a significant amount of time, and a couple of them can mean that they're just out of action, and there's no bases or worms being blown up anymore because they're busy elsewhere and you're busy shotgunning the things running at you and stuff like that. So the track is now going south. We are going to be going southwest for a couple of bits later on. In fact, we're coming up to one right now. But eventually we'll just be going due south, and then eventually we will start going southeast, at which point we'll pretty much be going southeast non-stop until we arrive in our own territory. I'm still not sure of the plan once we get there of how to arrange the rails. I'm currently thinking that we carry on round the lake, go past Iron Outpost 2, possibly even cross over the tracks at Oil Outpost 3, I think it is, and carry on all the way round to the normal parking place, I think, of the Megatrain, and then go from there. We'll probably also connect it up to Iron Outpost 2, just because it'd be awkward otherwise. I mean, I don't know what sort of paths trains will be taking with these rails, but connecting it up there seems to make a fair bit of sense. So dealing with all these bases, and at this point I'm going fairly crazy with the bots. I was being really careful and trying to use the minimum amount, all the way to the railhead. While I was in Mega Copper and the midpoint, I was being very careful and deploying the minimum number that I could still survive with. But now that's gone. All the bets are off at this point. I'm just going crazy and deploying 100, or even I think at some point I go up to the full 134 or whatever the number is, because the entire reason that I was saving up the destroyers was so that I could use more of them now, and I think I have plenty to get through this. We've got something like 5 stacks, 4.5 stacks, something like that, I think. And sort of looking at the numbers, that seems like more than enough to make it to the end. So I'm just gonna make things easier for myself, make things quicker, and just deploy them in the most ridiculous numbers. And it does help because, of course, we're trying to blow these bases up quickly, not give the behemoths time to spawn. So the more bots that we have, the quicker we can just run through. And it gets to a point where if we have enough of them, we can just non-stop sprint into the middle of a base, and it will still be blown up once we've run through it. And now here is where I mess up. I don't sort of apply the pressure properly. I sort of do a pass on the base rather than just going straight into the middle. And I end up with a bunch of behemoths spawning, and I have to fall back to deal with them, and then there's more behemoths in the base because, of course, there's been time now for things to recycle, and it makes dealing with this particular base a lot more difficult. Also, there's a couple of others that are sort of they're in range, so they're spawning behemoths as well, and this ends up being a particularly tough bit, and it's a good demonstration of how this whole thing can go wrong. You can see there's a whole big sea of green running at me here that I'm having to deal with, and I very nearly die. I nearly lose all my shields because I'm trying not to spawn any more biters. Not spawn any more biters, spawn any more bots, because I want to switch to gathering and rail building mode. And so it would be a waste to deploy any more to just deal with one little group of chasing spitters. But they turn out not to be so little, and I ended up with millimeters of my shield left, which was not good. So we do need to keep an eye out for that, and we do need to make sure that we keep the pressure on when we're attacking all these bases. So I've switched to the lighter power suits. I managed to miss some bits here because with trying to run through as quickly as possible, there's a couple of bits that I end up running straight past, and it's better to just carry on rather than run back and try and deal with them, because it would give the other places a chance. Or that might even have been a new base. I'm not even sure, because I think sometimes the biters are colonizing areas that I've just cleared here. And that is something we need to keep an eye out for. And they're going to continue with that once we've left. They'll continue trying to colonize all the way up to the rails, and we'll probably have to do a bit of clearing out from time to time, or maybe set up some defenses. Though usually they don't seem to attack rails, which is good. They just walk past them, go for sort of more, targets that they consider more important, stuff that actually generates pollution, like radars and also turrets, because they're turrets and stuff like that. So we did another leg of southwest motion, and then we're going to do another bit of south. And I think there's one more bit of southwest, and then there is no more western movement in terms of our tracks. We're pretty much heading straight towards the main base. But we're back in biter killing mode now. That one goes alright. There's a little bit sticking out, which could have been a danger, but we managed to deal with it all quick enough. This one's got a stupid amount of worms, and it is very cool to watch when you've got over 100 bots and you just run into a bunch of worms and they get destroyed at such a ridiculous rate. It's beautiful. It's like an explosion of them all dying at once, and the beams flying everywhere, and it's brilliant. And then we've got another one here, a couple of behemoth spitters, but they're alright. The behemoth spitters actually don't have that much health relative to other stuff. I think they might still have like more health than big biters, but it's the behemoth biters that are the particular danger. And here's two of them that I'm trying to deal with using a shotgun only, which was going okay until I accidentally backed into another base and drew the attention of a bunch more biters. So I decided to switch to bot mode again, a bit sooner than intended, but I didn't want to waste the bots that I just spawned. So a bunch more bases here, and we're sort of clearing them out. We're making sure that there's like a good radar range worth of space between the lake and the biters, because that gives us more time before the biters can actually get back to the to where we're running the rails through. Also, I've left the train quite far behind. I didn't even run it up to the end of the line before, because there were times when I'm a bit worried about the train being in danger. So far, we've been very lucky with the Megatrain itself. It's never actually been attacked by anything. And I'm pretty sure it's entirely possible. I mean, maybe the biters treat it the same as they do with rails, and they don't actually care about it, but it's definitely dangerous to be running around here dealing with all these biters while we just leave the train like miles behind, where the biters could be advancing anywhere. And the thing is, even though they don't usually destroy rails, they like all that stuff goes out of the window if they're colonizing. And a very long time ago, we had the attack on Oil Outpost 2, where even though they wouldn't usually blow up the rails, they did. They annihilated everything in Oil Outpost 2, including the rails leading into it, because they wanted to colonize there. When it comes to colonization, they just destroy everything within a certain radius, and then just set up their base like that. So they could always try and do that on the train. They could decide they want to set up a base in the middle of the part of the track where the train is, and just start wrecking it, and that would be pretty devastating. We'd lose stupid amounts of materials, and it would put us in a pretty dangerous position. We're still a fair bit from home. You can see from the map that we're nearly halfway now between where we started this episode and sort of the safe area where we're finally beyond the all the bases that we have. Though we're probably not going to make it today. I mean, well, I know that we don't make it today. I don't know why I'm saying probably. Yeah, we get very close, and it's pretty clear that next episode will be the one where we finally make it. We finally arrive back in our own territory, and then we'll sort of work things out from there. There's plenty more to do yet. There's more sort of challenges to complete, some rocket stuff to do. I mean, we have a rocket ready to launch, but you know what's cooler than one rocket? Two rockets, and so on. So I would like to try launching a couple at the same time. I mean, we did that in Factorio a mass, but I'd like to do it again in Railworld because it's cool. But yes, we're once again in gathering mode and rail building mode. Though we keep drawing the attention of a bunch of biters, just from being a little bit too dangerous. And this is one of the reasons why I've left the train behind again, because there's a couple of bases that are a little bit too near to the railhead for my liking. So back in biter killing mode, do a bit of backtracking there, and that's possibly a bad idea, because we could end up with a couple of bigger things spawning, but we managed to deal with it easily enough. And at the moment we once again have over 100 bots. At times, the annoying thing is that with the window that I see while I'm doing these recordings, I can't see enough resolution to know what number that is. But I can see it's 3 digits, and I know that if it goes green, we've reached the maximum limit of, I think, 136, if that's not 136, 134, which is a really weird number. You'd expect it to be a multiple of 5, because I think you even it even goes up in 5s when you're upgrading the capacity. But something odd went on, I guess, with the way the upgrades lined up, and so we've ended up with 134 being the limit, which is a little bit strange. Later on, we might even get some further upgrades with that, because with 0.13, I believe they're doing some messing about with the combat, making it sort of more balanced, because they've not properly factored in the introduction of behemoths, and we've just had to deal with them with the equipment that we already had that was designed for dealing with big biters. So they may do some messing about with that, and they may also do some messing about with all the upgrades for bot capacity. But anyway, we're trying to do with this particular behemoth with the shotgun. I like to do this occasionally, just see how much it takes, and it's not a good sign. I'm having to do a fair bit of running just to deal with one of them. Though I do find that if I stop, I can take it out much quicker, and it does put me in danger of being killed by the thing. But I do have plenty of shielding, so it may be better just to stand right there, because when they're right up against you, you can hit them with all of the shotgun blast rather than just sort of the middle section of it, which is the most annoying thing about the shotgun. Though it does make it useful against crowds, because every hit does land then, one way or another. So we're setting up now Station A to bring in the Megatrain. I've left it quite far behind at this point, so while it's coming, I'm just checking the map, and everything's looking pretty normal. There's trains moving around in the main base, so nothing's exploded apparently, though who knows. And again, it's not been that long. It's only been 2 episodes since we were back in the main base, because we went fairly quickly through Megacopper and the midpoint. So yeah, this is a fairly short time away, really, considering it's such a momentous occasion, really, of the final stage of our rail building thing. Or lake rail, I don't know what's good, lake railway, something like that. But yes, I noticed just back there that there seemed to be some alien artifacts that I ran over but didn't pick up, so I'm not sure if I actually left some behind from when I was running through previously. And it is possible, because when I was running through, there were probably a couple of times where I did have some bots, so they could have easily blown up some bases that I was passing a little bit close, and of course anything that was blown up back then can't be picked up by running over it. You have to hold down F, because some updates happened since, which make it easier to pick up the artifacts. But anyway, we're now mapping parts of the lake that we've never seen before, because the thing is, when I started running for my life, I stopped caring about where the edge of the lake actually was, and in that way I never sort of properly completed the mission, because the entire point of that mission was to completely map the entire shore of the lake, and I've missed this bit, so now I'm running back through and actually getting some scanning done. Because when I was running before, I just started going pretty much south and a little bit to the east because I wasn't really sure where I was going. And I was just trying to go straight towards Iron Outpost 2 as much as I could, so I wasn't paying much attention to where the shore actually was. And now I'm looking at it, it's actually quite nice. It's this very sort of smooth boundary between the deep water and then a mix of shallow water and land, which sort of works out interestingly. So there's a lot of bays and headlands or whatever it is. Someone told me, back when I was building the midpoint base, someone told me a good name for headland that sounded nicer, I think. But I've now forgotten what it is, and I didn't think to look it up at any point, so I'm just going to call them headlands again. So yeah, there's a lot of nice bays and like structures going on there as it sort of curves around. And it's interesting that sort of like the deep water is the smooth part rather than like having a smooth line with like the land or whatever. But yeah, it means that there's points where there's deep water right up against land. So that does happen fairly often, but I don't know. But I think there are a fair few sort of real world coasts that look like that sort of thing. But yes, we're once again in gathering mode. I think we've put on the lighter power suit as we usually do, and we're sort of gathering everything up again. And it looks like we're now going to be starting to go southeast because of course with it curving away, we're going to sort of find a tangent and line up there. There was picking up those artifacts from before, the ones that I think needed you to hold down F, but I'm not sure. I've sort of forgotten. But yes, anyway, continuing with the last southern section that is not sort of like over by like the oil outpost or anything like that, before sort of working out where we're going to do the cornering. I'm trying to run it along inside the train, but it's just not working out because there's too many random trees in the way. It was a fairly open area, but a single tree messes you up entirely. It'd be nice if like the tree, not the tree, if the train just slightly overlapped its tracks so that if you did hit a train at the end of the tracks, I'm mixing up they all begin with T. Train, tracks and trees are very confusing. But yes, if you could overlap the end of the track just by a little bit, you'd be able to take out the trees with the train. That would make it a lot easier to build rails like that. But with the changes that are about to be done in 0.13 to how you build rails, that's probably not so important anymore because there's going to be a lot more sort of blueprinty based rail building and stuff like this diagonal blueprint here. I don't think will be needed anymore because I can just set the start point and the finish point, and then stretch it for miles and have the entire thing blueprinted in one go, which would be pretty cool. And then I just need to run along as I was sort of doing towards the end there and just have the bots build them as I go. But here we are onto the southeast section of the track. Not going all the way to the end because once again there are some biters right around there. But I think we'll have one more biter killing spree before we finish for today. And next episode we will arrive home in one way or another. We'll get the Megatrain going somewhere, possibly back to the back to where it's parked or something like that. We'll work it out, and then we'll start sort of going back and adding in some infrastructure, getting the radars in so that we can finally scan the entirety of the lake, and also probably putting in some passing points so that if we need to, we can run a couple of different trains along the track at once. So we'll switch back to the heavy power suit and the bots for our final bit of attacking here. And yeah, I think these particular bases are the ones that we haven't sort of encountered, or maybe we have, because looking at the map, I think this is the point where I started travelling southeast. Yeah, you can sort of see how the paths are diverging. There's the one that's already been scanned that's running through, and then there's mine that's sort of appearing alongside it. Also, an interesting thing about this particular area is that I wasn't really sure what to expect with it, because when I was running through here on the first journey around, I was being chased by hundreds, if not thousands, of biters. And when I arrived in Iron Outpost 2, I was expecting the outpost to be destroyed by the huge wave of biters that was approaching. I was expecting to be holding the line in the Iron Outpost for a while until I eventually had to fall back, hop on a train and run home, and then sort of defend from there. But the thing actually happened. Like, I arrived in Iron Outpost 2 and then there was like 2 biter attacks and that was it. And they were both really tiny and nothing really happened. So I was wondering if there was going to be some biters just sort of standing around here, or maybe they built some new bases, or maybe they just disappeared entirely, or maybe they're a little bit further along and they're all in one big clump and I'll encounter them later on. But anyway, that's enough for today. I shall make my way back to the Megatrain. And next episode we will finish our journey. So I shall say goodbye, thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.